you can come too. We're going to the zoo. Mama's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. Mama's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You can come too. We're going to the zoo. See the elephant with a long trunk swinging, the great big ears and the long trunk swinging, sniffing up the peanuts and the long trunk swinging. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You can come too. We're going to the zoo. See all the monkeys scratching, jumping all around and scratching, hanging by the long tail, scratching. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You come too. We're going to the zoo. Big black bear, he's whomping. His coat too heavy, he's whomping. Don't get too near the whomping, or you won't stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You come too. We're going to the zoo. Seals in the pool, they're honking, catching all the fish and honking. Little seals are honking. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You can come too. We're going to the zoo. Well, we stayed all day. We're getting sleepy, sitting in the car, getting sleep. Home already. We're sleepy. We have stayed all day. We've been to the zoo. So have you. You came to. We've been to the zoo. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo. How about you? You can come too. We're going to the zoo.
Good morning, everyone. We are live from the Prince of Wales Virtual School on Thursday, the 2nd of July, 2020. And we are very, very, very excited this morning because, yes, we're going back to the zoo. We've got a big hi to Holly and her friends in year 2. We're looking forward to today's assembly. And there's a little emoji there, look, giving away what's coming up in today's assembly. We've got hi from everyone in the Engaged Kingdom. Thank you for joining us this morning for this very special assembly. And today we're joined by Jack and Rachel from Folly Farm Zoo in Wales. Hello, Jack. Good to see you again.
Hello. Good to see you again.
You're back, and today you're in a different area of the zoo.
I am. So today, you probably guessed by now, but we are with the giraffes.
Yay! The giraffes at Folly Farm Zoo in Wales. How exciting.
So what I'll do is I'll just take you over to Rachel, because she mainly looks after the giraffes and rhinos here. So she knows a little bit more than me about the giraffes. So I will hand you over now, and you can introduce you to our lovely giraffe boys. Take it away.
Good morning, Rachel.
As I said, my name's Rachel. Hello. So it's lovely to be with you all today, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to introduce you to our 3 lovely boy giraffes here at Folly. So first up, we're going to start with Rian. Rian is actually our youngest, but he is the tallest, so he's a little bit off-putting in that respect. So he's 11 years old. He'll be 12 in December. And he's nice and easy to recognise because he is by far the tallest, like I said. And he's also the lightest in colour. So his coat pattern with the dark spots with the colour around him is very, very white, particularly where his head goes into his neck. And he's got really white legs as well that don't have the pattern on. And he's also quite a troublemaker. So being the youngest, he likes to think he's top dog. So if there's any trouble within the group, he is usually to blame. But he is a lovely boy. He's quite an independent lad, so it's quite nice for him to join us today. This is quite rare for Rian. I'm embracing all the time I get with him. And then walking by, just staying out of Rian's way. Now this is Scylla. And as you can see, Scylla is far, far shorter. I just grabbed some fresh browse for Scylla. Now, Syl is our oldest, but by far the shortest. So he's 15 years old. And
he's very strong.
And very strong. So he's very food orientated. Most giraffes are, but Syl takes this to a whole new level. He loves his grub, so I'm feeding them some willow whips today. Now, browse is the most important thing we can give these guys. So browse is just different species of tree. Today it's willow, and we tend to give them quite a lot of willow because we have our own plantations. So we like to be nice and sustainable with the browse that we cut down. And it is one of their favourites as well. They make the most of it. So you can see they strip the leaves off. And then once the leaves are gone, the easy bits, then they will go to the bark until later on, when I clean up the yard, the browse sticks will look like this. So they completely take everything off it, and you're left with just a white stick. So they're pretty impressive at eating what they do. They can't afford to be wasteful because all they eat is leaves. You can imagine they have to eat a lot to fill such a big, long body. And last but certainly not least, Tarks has joined us. Now, Tarks is our middleman in terms of age and height. So he's 13, a little bit taller than Scylla, but a little bit shorter than Rian. And he is by far the darkest. So again, nice and easy to recognise. And Tarks, again, is quite sort of food orientated, but he's also quite nervous. If anything changes within our routine, or anything that we do with him, if it's new or unfamiliar, then he treats it with the utmost suspicion and usually won't cooperate with us unless lots of bribery is involved. So we have to be quite gentle with Tarks. Last question.
How strong is their bite?
Their bite is very strong. So they only have teeth on at the front at their bottom jaw. They don't have any teeth on the top. It's like a hard palate, like a goat. And they use that to really grip hold of anything and pull back. You can see they use that beautiful neck to really pull. So a lot of that strength is in that big neck that they've got. And particularly the males, their necks are really well reinforced, much thicker than the females. I don't know if anyone knows how many bones are in a giraffe's neck. Any any answers?
So usually it takes a couple of minutes for comments to come through.
Okay.
But yeah, while we're waiting, what are these horns for on their head?
So the posh term is actually ossicones, and the males and the females have them. But as you can see with these boys, they're really sort of thick. They're bulbous. They're not very nice to look at, really. They're bold on the top. If you look at a female giraffe, she's got lovely thin ossicones with lovely black tufts on the end. She looks very beautiful. Whereas these, they fight with their ossicones. So basically, this is a big built-in shock helmet. So when the boys fight, a behaviour called necking, they stand side by side and they take in turns and hitting each other with that head and neck into their opponent's chest and legs. And this basically protects their brain because they hit each other really, really hard. It's quite nasty to watch, actually, the impact that they make on each other. But that's what male giraffes do. They fight over dominance of females. So it's really important that they're strong. And the older the giraffe gets, the more bony growth they develop on those ossicones, because that adds even more protection to that brain. So Scylla, in comparison with Rian, he's really bony and bulbous, whereas Rian is still fairly sort of straight and quite nice looking. And this is another ossicone, but it's often referred to as a median lump. And again, the females have them, but they're not very pronounced. Whereas on the males, again, that's more protection.
So how long are their necks?
Oh, good question. To be honest, I don't really know. I mean, the
Because it varies, doesn't it?
It does vary between all the individuals. They're so different personality and in looks. But I'd say a good couple of feet or so, probably. Well, looking at Rian's, he's probably about 5-6 foot, the length of me. With Scylla, he's probably not quite that. He's probably sort of maybe 4.5, 5, pushing it. But between their legs and their neck, that's ultimately what gives them that incredible height.
Excellent. Should we tell them how many bones they have in their neck?
Ah, yes. So for those of you who know or maybe
Someone
don't
says,
know,
is it 169 bones?
that is a strong guess. That would be a very interesting skeleton to look at. No, actually, they have the same amount of bones in their neck as we do. So we have 7 and they have 7, which is quite amazing.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? 7 bones in their neck.
But obviously, theirs is a lot more. And unlike ours, which our bones stack on top of each other, these guys fit into a ball and socket joint, so they allow to have lots of flexibility when they hit each other, when they do that fight behavior. So again, really well adapted to being giraffes.
And while Rachel is getting some more trees, Dylan in Discovery Kingdom, hello, was asking how many giraffes we have. Well, we just have the 3 boys here. So you can see all 3 of them in front of us this morning. And in the background, you can just see our zebras in the other paddock there. They do sometimes mingle with the giraffes. The giraffes have access to this lovely big area out the back here today, because it's nice and sunny, which is a surprise for Wales.
Always a rarity.
Charlie is asking, how fast can they run?
Oh, good question. So they can actually run about 40 kilometers per hour, which is incredible for such a large animal. So one of their main defense mechanisms is to just run away. But if that's not possible, then they kick out in any direction. So they really use the power in those legs to kick out at their predators, usually an African lion. Hyenas have been known to take calves, and also crocodiles, surprisingly. But yes, amazing running skills for such a massive.
I've visited Folly Farm and I've seen your giraffes running with the zebras actually, and it was an amazing sight because obviously their necks go up and down when they're running, and it's quite a funny sight really.
It looks like they're in slow-mo, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it's quite incredible that they can shift at the rate that they do.
How do giraffes sleep? Where do they put their necks when they sleep?
So giraffes are really interesting in that respect. They actually need the least sleep of any mammal on the globe, any land mammal. So they can survive on about half an hour in a 24-hour period, which is quite a thing. It would be quite useful to do that. And that's because it's so dangerous for them to actually sit down and rest, because that leaves them really vulnerable to predation. Being such a big animal, they really have to commit to sort of sitting down the floor. And again, they're a bit stunted when they get up. It takes them a while, and especially if they're ambushed by predators, it leaves them quite vulnerable. But when they do sleep, we've got 3 straw beds in the house that they can choose from wherever they like. And to sit down, their knees buckle underneath them on their front legs, and then they lift their bum in and sit down. And to have proper dream sleep, REM sleep, they actually fold their neck back on their rump. So they literally fold in half, which is quite a feat for such a massive animal. And that's where they have their quality sleep, known as dream sleep in humans. But again, adults need about 11 minutes of that a day, and youngsters need a little bit more. But they really don't sleep very much at all because it's so dangerous for them. You will catch them micro sleeping, so if ever you see a giraffe just in the sunlight, chewing the cud away, and just sort of staring into space, they're actually probably just shut their eyes for a few minutes, but their eyes will remain open, but they are just having a quick micro sleep.
So that's while they're stood up. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. So while they're stood up, they'll just be stood out in the paddock somewhere, chewing away, chewing the cud, but they will be sort of the lights are off for a little while.
And I'll just pan the camera behind, because if you're wondering how they bend down,
There you go.
this is how they bend down to get water and sometimes a little bit of grass. They have to stretch their front legs right out, almost through the splits, just to get down on the floor. Katie's asking, how tall can an adult giraffe get?
So I think the tallest ever recorded giraffe, it was a Rothschild's giraffe out in the wild, and that was 22 foot tall. And now to put that into perspective, Rian is probably about 17 to 18 feet. So you can imagine another sort nearly a me on top of Rian. That's quite a feat.
That's
But
amazing.
Rothschilds tend to be the taller giraffe. Rian is a Rothschild's giraffe, and you can really see that with his height.
Excellent. And Benji, hi Benji, would like to know how long do they live for?
So in the wild tends to be sort of 20s. In captivity is a little bit longer, late 20s. Sort of 28 is a really good age for a captive giraffe. But in the wild, males in particular, they won't reach their 10th birthday. Because of that fighting I mentioned earlier, it really takes its toll on a giraffe's body, especially if they're having to compete day after day. So they usually, if they don't take over a group of females, they can sustain really nasty injuries, and they usually don't see their 10th birthday. But generally in captivity, these boys, we manage them quite well. We do see some fighting, but not so much so that it's really intense. And we're set up in a way that we can separate them if we need to. So hopefully these guys will be around with us into their sort of mid to late 20s. Any more questions?
Emma's looking forward to visiting Folly Farm soon. You're opening soon, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're opening next week to members only, and then the following week will be open full time. But there will be a limited number of people that can come in, just so that we can keep a distance from each other and the animals. So yeah, really excited to open up again. It'll be quite strange because we just drive our vehicles around at the moment, and so that's quite a luxury. Obviously, if we've got people on the park, we can't drive around the zoo. But yeah, we obviously love our visitors coming and learning about these animals and how important they are. So we've got another question. Noah is asking, how long are their tongues? So Cillian can probably demonstrate that quite well.
He can indeed. So their tongues are about 45 centimeters in length. Sorry, just chewing. Let me just. He's got a mouthful of leaves.
You want to show us your tongue?
There we go. So about 45 centimeters in length, which is one of the longest tongues in the animal kingdom. And they're really dexterous, so really manipulative with that tongue. I will try and keep my hand where it is, but actually, he's going to pull my hand to grasp that food.
It's quite weird, really, isn't it?
Really strange, and they're really salivary as well. Their saliva is actually antiseptic, so it's really important for them. Not so important for me and my hand, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So I actually have this work.
And how long have these giraffes been at Folly Farm?
We've had giraffes at Folly Farm since 2009. I think, was anyone an original giraffe?
It's a Harquair. So this one on the right-hand side has been here since 2009. And the others have arrived shortly after. So this here is what we call an enrichment device. And basically, Rachel's put some Tupperware onto a piece of wood, and it's got holes in the front there, so they have to use their tongue to get the carrots out of that, which is really strange if you're just tuning in. Going on.
Amazing.
Not stuck in a washing machine.
Yeah. But it's really great because they use their tongues to eat, and they're eating for about 90% of their day, which is a huge amount of time. And so in captivity, we need to replicate that as much as possible. So we like to make it really difficult for them to eat their food. It just means that they take longer to eat their food. Can you imagine if your parents put your dinner in a Tupperware with a little hole in?
And you couldn't see what you were eating either. These guys have no idea what they're trying to get, but they're so food motivated that they'll give anything a go.
A really great question from Elliot. Would like to know, why do they have patterned markings?
Oh, good question. I like this kind of question. So for two reasons. The main one is camouflage. So giraffes are prey animals. So like I said earlier, they're predated on by sort of lions, hyenas, crocodiles, things like that. So it's really important that they blend into their surroundings. So that beautiful sort of colour really blends in with the savannah, and breaks up their outline as well. Those different hexagonal shapes makes the giraffe sort of just disappear in the background. But they also have another purpose. The darker spots on a giraffe actually help the giraffe control its temperature. So being so large, they have a really large surface to area volume ratio, which means they are designed to lose heat. They're just one big sail. But those darker spots, if you were to peel the skin away, you'd see a collection of blood vessels, and they will constrict or dilate depending on whether the giraffe wants to warm up or cool down. So really important for the giraffe, and it makes them look very pretty as well.
They are very pretty. Charlie again is asking a great question. Why are their tongues blue?
So tongues blue. So the tongues are actually that sort of bluey black colour because it protects it from the sunshine. Now, like Jack said, they eat for about 90% of the day. So that tongue is constantly exposed to the African sunlight. And African sun, the UV rays, you can imagine, are really sort of fierce. And if their tongues were pink, they would soon get red and sore. And that's no good to giraffe, because if a giraffe can't eat, then it won't last long. So that coloration protects it from the sun. And I don't know if I can get him to show you, but to prove that it is for sun protection, the bit that doesn't really come past the mouth is still pink. So really, really clever adaptation for these guys to have, which allows them to continue eating, to fill that body sufficiently and not get a sore tongue.
Can I thank you both? It's been absolutely amazing to meet your three giraffes at Folly Farm Zoo, and you've answered so many fantastic questions from our pupils. It's been an absolutely amazing assembly. Charlie would like to say that he loves the giraffes, says Charlie.
Amazing. That's what we like to hear.
And I'm sure when we all can, we'll all come and see them sometime. But it's been wonderful. Thank you both so much for your time this morning. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Jack, thank you for the second assembly. It's great to build on the Rhino assembly. And we wish you well for next week when you open to your visitors.
Thank you very much. And we wish you the best of luck in reopening the school as well.
Yes.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.